What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. What up, what up, what up? What's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys are engaged, and make sure you guys are locked in. Kick your feet up, relax, take your shoes off. Make sure you got your snacks. Make sure you got your beverages. Make sure you got your little your doja lined up or rolled up, you know what I'm saying? Make sure, if this is what you do, you got your late afternoon, you got your early afternoon, you know what I mean, soiree popping, whatever it is you're doing right now, you know what I mean? Make sure you're doing it the right way. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure all your bills is paid. Make sure the kids is already where they're supposed to be before you get too comfortable. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, man. Appreciate you guys. The show doesn't go on without the people. It doesn't. You know what I mean? I don't take it for granted, and I'm grateful to be here with you guys. Happy to be alive, happy to be healthy, happy I didn't get any bad news, man. So, listen, I really do appreciate you guys for locking in the way you guys do. I'm grateful to all my members. Shout out to Alex, Sweet Chin Music, K-Order Green, S Blunt, KGK 911. Those are my members that are locked in thus far, man. I appreciate you guys so much. Today's going to be a very, very good show. I got a good show lined up for you guys. We have a special guest coming on in about, I want to say 10 minutes, about 10, 12 minutes, something like that. We got a special guest coming on. So it's going to be really exciting to hear from this person. Can't wait for you guys to tap in with this guy, man. I'm really, really looking forward to this conversation. But again, like I said, we got a pretty good show lined up. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles draft board as it pertains to their top 30 visits. Right. And so far, it's been reported or revealed, the rumors are circulating, the words are circulating that the Philadelphia Eagles have brought in or are going to bring in so far 4 offensive linemen for their top 30 visits. There are still names that haven't really been revealed yet. There's still so much that has to be done. But as of right now, there are 4 offensive linemen that's been reported that the Philadelphia Eagles are bringing in for top 30 visits. And did we expect anything less from the Philadelphia Eagles? This is what they do. They lean into the offensive line. They invest in the trenches. The Philadelphia Eagles, they know how to build the team the right way. That is from the inside out, not from the outside in. You got teams like the Cincinnati Bengals who just paid 2 wide receivers a significant amount of money. A significant amount of money. And when you think about it in perspective, when you compare it to what A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are making, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins versus A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, when you think about what they're making contractually, you say to yourself, wow, the Philadelphia Eagles know how to take care of business, and they know how to take care of business early. They don't waste too much time. Whereas though the Bengals, they have a habit, like the Cowboys, like a lot of organizations, but they have a habit of paying guys late to the point where they're basically paying the market rate. They're paying well above what they probably could have been paying. Meanwhile, their offensive line is in shambles, inconsistent. Their defense, non-existent. They're having a hard time figuring out what their future is going to be with Trey Hendrickson, right? So the Bengals are basically telling you that they're betting heavily on this upcoming draft class. Whoever they draft, they better hit. Because they lost some guys retired, some guys moved on to free agency, whatever it is. The only guys they brought back definitively, I believe, they brought in Oren Burks at linebacker. They signed, they re-signed or extended Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right? You pay those guys. They deserve their money. They deserve their money for sure. But I just feel like at this point, that situation could have been handled way differently. And this goes back to what I'm saying about the Eagles. The Eagles are bringing in 4 offensive linemen for their top 30 visits. They're already having the foresight of life beyond Lane Johnson. They're already investing in their offensive line. They've invested in their offensive line when they traded CJ for Quinyon Green, the offensive guard from Houston. So the Eagles will continue to always build football teams the right way, while other teams are still playing checkers, right? Now, whether these guys that they're looking at on the top 30 visits, the Philadelphia Eagles, that is, whether they deem any of those guys as potential Lane Johnson replacements, that all remains to be seen. Lane Johnson has developed and built and established himself as a future Hall of Famer. He's guaranteed to make the Eagles Hall of Fame, 2-time Super Bowl champion, multi-time All-Pro, multi-time Pro Bowler. You know what I mean? Lane Johnson, arguably the best tackle in football, without a doubt, the best right tackle in football, in my humble opinion. Arguably one of the best offensive linemen the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had in the building. He's a Hall of Famer, man. It's just a matter of time. So those players that they're bringing in, and we're going to talk about those guys. They're bringing in 4 players, and they're all projected to go in various places in the draft. But, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles, when they draft offensive linemen, they don't really care when they draft them. They're drafting for specific traits. They're drafting for a specific skill set. And we're definitely going to get into that as the show progresses for sure. As a reminder, I do have a special guest that's coming on in a few minutes, so I can't wait to really chop it up with him. But, again, the names of these guys thus far, and again, we don't know if these guys will be good enough. We know Jeff Stoutland always gets the most out of guys, though. He's always going to get the most out of a guy. The question is, can any of them be good enough to fulfill that right tackle spot once Lane decides to hang it up? Now, Lane is pretty much locked in contractually through 2027. So we got Lane for this season, the 2026 season, and hopefully the 2027 season, barring any unforeseen injuries or circumstances. If Lane Johnson stays healthy, he's going to be the right tackle for the next 3 years. That goes back to his extension in the contract restructure. Eagles gave him more guaranteed money. So he's going to be here at least, in my opinion, at the very least, for the next 2 seasons. That 3rd season, that 2027 season, it all remains to be seen. It all remains to be seen. But the 3 guys that they're going to bring in, or that they're reportedly going to bring in ahead of the 2025 draft is, let's see here, Jalen Travis, offensive lineman out of Iowa State. Marcus Mabau, offensive lineman out of Purdue. Josh Connerly Jr., offensive lineman out of Oregon. And Anthony Belton, offensive lineman out of North Carolina State. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the details we have on these guys. We're going to read through some of these articles here and try to get a sense for who these guys are. And again, all these guys aren't day 1 picks. All these guys aren't day 2 picks. These guys are clearly guys the Philadelphia Eagles like, and they just want to see where they fit in. But just starting with Jalen Travis here. Give me 1 second, you guys. Just starting with Jalen Travis, like I said, offensive lineman out of Iowa State, says here, the former Iowa State offensive lineman Jalen Travis started 11 games at left tackle for the Cyclones in 2024. According to Pro Football Focus, Jalen Travis allowed just 1 sack and 11 total pressures and on 475 pass protection snaps at Iowa State. Prior to joining Iowa State, Jalen Travis played at Princeton while splitting time at both left tackle and right tackle. All right, so Jalen Travis. Jalen Travis is a guy who finished his college career at Iowa State at left tackle, playing 11 games at left tackle for the Iowa State Cyclones. But prior to that, he was a swing tackle. He played left tackle and right tackle. He split time there for a bevy of reasons, I'm sure. But splitting time at left tackle and right tackle, meaning he has experience being cross-trained. You know, Jeff, we all know Jeff Stoutland. Jeff Stoutland is going to make sure all these guys are cross-trained. Even if you're a tackle, and you're going to get some snaps at guard. That's how this thing's going to work here. You're going to get some snaps at guard. It goes without saying here. It says Travis also has the ideal size to play offensive tackle in the NFL. This is where he stands out, and I think this is where the Philadelphia Eagles always like to find themselves with tackles. It says Travis has the ideal size to play offensive tackle in the NFL. He's 6'8", 339 pounds with 35-inch arms. 34 inches and 7/8 to be exact, but we're going to round up. 35-inch arms. Jalen Travis, 6'8", 339 pounds, 35-inch arms. While Travis is far from a finished product, he would benefit by learning inside Philadelphia's prestigious offensive line room. Jalen Travis is projected to be selected on day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft. So, and that's been reported. The source is Zach Berman of PHLY. Zach Berman reported that on X, on Twitter, however you describe it. But regardless, though, we're going to learn more about this guy as the show goes. But the measurables, 6'8", 339 pounds, 34 7/8 of an inch arms. The dude is a tank. He's a tank. So the Eagles clearly have an archetype, right? It's kind of like that Jordan Mailata archetype, right? Jordan Mailata is like 6'8", like 345, 350, moves like a ballerina. Lane Johnson, I think Lane is what, like 6'6", 6'5", right? How tall is Lane Johnson? Lane Johnson is 6'6", 325. So they have a mold. Those guys that are 6'6", 6'8", between 325 and 350, they have an archetype they want to replicate. So, again, like I said, we're going to learn more about this guy. We're going to read more into this guy as the show goes. Moving on, though. Another offensive lineman they're looking at. And by the way, we do have a special guest coming on very, very soon, you guys. Make sure you guys are locked in. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. It's the off season, baby. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You feel me? While some of your other favorite content creators are taking time off, we're still grinding at this thing. We're still putting content out there. You feel what I'm saying? We're still talking about our Eagles. We're not leaving any stone unturned. This is how we do it here. You guys know this is how we carry it at Chalk It Up Sports. We're going to give you guys as much content as possible because that's my responsibility to y'all. So, let me read some of y'all comments here real quick before we continue. Big Trag says, let's get Travon Walker. Yeah, I heard Travon Walker may be on the trade block. We'll see how that goes. But Travon Walker is an ascending player. I think Travon Walker is entering year 3 of his rookie deal with the 5th-year option attached to that. So at some point, if you do decide to bring in Travon Walker, are you going to pay him? What's going to be the What's the long-term answer with that? You can't just trade for guys and not think about the long-term ramifications. So you can't just get guys and think that they're just going to take whatever you give them. Let's see here. K-Order Green says, I can see us trading up in the first round using a few of next year's draft picks, assuming they think this class of O-line is worth it. Yeah, that's going to be the thing, right? I personally don't believe the Philadelphia Eagles are going to stay at that 32 spot. I really, really don't. I think the Philadelphia Eagles can very well trade up. That's my honest opinion about that. Or trade back. I just have a hard time believing that the Philadelphia Eagles will stay there. That's not really something they do. They always find a way to make some kind of move to either move up or move back. I think last year's draft, did they stay put? I think they stayed put, but the draft was falling in such a way that dictated that. So we'll see how the draft board falls on draft night. It all remains to be seen. But I just got this feeling because they're at the 32nd overall pick, I can't put it past Howie Roseman. I can't put it past Howie Roseman to just stay at 32. It's such an awkward place to be. Alex says, and Baun can play both inside at guard and at tackle. You're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And we're going to get into that as well. Offensive lineman out of Purdue. S. Blunt says, we still need a swing tackle for Fred Johnson unless they move Tyler Steen to swing tackle and stack the guard position. That's an interesting point because Tyler Steen, when they drafted him, a tackle, but Tyler Steen is somebody who he played tackle in college, but they decided to put him at guard because his arms weren't that long. But Tyler Steen is 6'6", 321 pounds. I mean, I feel like people underestimate how large of a human Tyler Steen is. Like Mekhi Becton was 6'7", 363, right? He was a behemoth. 6'7", 363. Tyler Steen is only an inch shorter, but there's a 40-pound difference between those guys. So Tyler Steen is, again, still a younger player who is continuously getting stronger. He's getting stronger. So I can't sit here and act like Tyler Steen potentially won't be a candidate for that swing tackle role. I can't sit here and say he's not that. But they played him at guard a lot. And whenever they needed somebody to play tackle, it's either been Jack Driscoll or Fred Johnson. So we'll see how everything turns out. We'll definitely see how everything turns out when it comes to this draft class. And like I said, we're going to get into the offensive line talk much, much more as the show goes. I can't wait to talk with my next guest about offensive line talk, but there's so much more to get into before we start doing that. Listen, I'm really grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for what we're building here at Chalk It Up Sports, but I'm even more grateful for the connections I've made over the many, many years. And I can't wait to speak to this brother because all he's done is ever give me the jewels, put the battery in my back, motivate me, inspire me, tell me that, hey, whatever you need, I got you. Just make sure you give me a heads up. You feel me? So let me make sure I give this brother his flowers. 10-year NFL vet, played offensive line, 118 games played with 62 starts. I mean, that's a career for your ass. Coming out of Kansas State University, drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in the second round, and also played for the Lions, the Browns, the Broncos, the Packers, the Giants, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That brother made sure he had a job. As a matter of fact, he is a Super Bowl champion, winning Super Bowl 40 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You also heard him as a color commentator, calling many, many college football games. You've seen him every day on NBC Sports Philadelphia as an analyst covering your Philadelphia Eagles. Two-time Emmy winner, member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Y'all know who it is, the big dog, Brandon Brooks, B. Brooks, Barrett Brooks. What's good, big dog?
What's up, man? How you doing, man? Everything good,
man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed by the best. I'm excited to talk to you, big dog, because it's been a while, and your perspective is something I value tremendously, man. But again,
appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
How are you? How's the family? How's everything going?
Good. Real good, man. This is my time, man. This is where, things people thinking, football's over with. I tell you what, the NFL maximizes all they can from each and every day of the NFL football calendar. I mean, 365 days. They always got something. If you're not working with the draft, you're working with the combine, free agencies, notable signings. I mean, you name it, they make sure they maximize it.
Yeah, and you know, I know this is your favorite time of year as far as looking at the offensive lineman. That's your lane, man. You are. I always love listening to you talk about the offensive line because it always feels like a masterclass. You played double-digit years in the NFL at the position. You know, for you at least, when you're looking at offensive linemen in the upcoming draft or what the Philadelphia Eagles needs are offensive line, what are some of the things you're looking for that fits into this mold?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter with Vic, you know, when you have a guy like Stoutland. Stoutland takes things to another level. You know, they call it Stoutland University for a reason. He can take the most unathletic guy and make him a player. That's why everybody that leaves here usually becomes very successful. They're definitely successful here. They call it Stoutland University because you enroll in there, you get a master's class. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody's gonna be a valedictorian like you know, the likes of Lane Johnson and you know Jason Peters that was there and you know guys like that. But you at least go out there and have fire and colors. What they bring to the table is how they set fundamentals, what they're thinking, how they approach the game. All this stuff is taught with Coach Stoutland. He's probably the best coach that's not a head coach or a coordinator in the NFL. No question.
Yeah. It's interesting because one of the reasons that this Philadelphia Eagles team has always been successful and why they even took their success to new heights this past season in 2024 to 2025 season is because of how dominant that offensive line was. I mean, you had behemoths. You had guys amongst men on that whole line. Lane Johnson, Mekhi Becton at guard, which made him a unicorn. Cam Jurgens, who took his game to another level, you know, with a Pro Bowl season at center. Landon Dickerson, right? A hog maw. I mean, the dude is insane. The enforcer, a warden. You're right. Jordan Mailata, the Aussie. I mean, that offensive line is just phenomenal from top to bottom. When you think about the way this offensive line played in 2024, then you couple that with the season Saquon had. I mean, just walk me through what you were seeing throughout the season and how that offensive line went through its fair share of growing pains with a pretty new interior at center and right guard.
First of all, to have a guy like Jason Kelce retire, and then a guy steps in and becomes a Pro Bowler the very next year, just goes to show, you know, Stoutland University is just put him on another level. He was handpicked by Kelce. Kelce said, "Hey, this is the guy I want to come in and take over when I leave. He has everything that I have, but he may be a little bigger than Jason Kelce. I know he's a lot stronger than Jason, and he plays the game a little more reckless as far as, you know, coming off the ball and playing more aggressive than Jason. And we're talking about Jason that's going to be a golden jacket guy, was a Pro Bowler, all pro, you name it. He was by far the best center for a 5-year period that he was playing. So, you know, you plug and play him in, and what do you have? A guy that comes in and makes the Pro Bowl his first year, takes over, and it's business as usual. Now, that goes to show you, you got the biggest offensive line in NFL. What does that do? You get haters. The biggest thing they're talking about down at the owners' meetings is, should they outlaw, not owners' meeting, but the official meeting,
right?
Should they outlaw the tush push? Well, there's no secret of how good they are, because the reason they're that good, they draft big offensive linemen. They bring in guys that are big. When you got the biggest offensive lineman coming off the rock, these other teams need to go do the same thing. Go get you a big offensive line. Go get you a quarterback that squats 600 pounds. Then you can run the tush push also. But, you know, they're trying to say, oh, you know, it's unsafe. You know, people are getting hurt. But it shows nobody got hurt during the season. So it has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It's just how they run that play, what the personnel they run that play with, which makes them so successful. Which brings me to now Mekhi Becton. First-round draft choice by the Jets. When he was playing, he played all right. They were trying to label him a bust. He takes a 1-year deal with the Eagles, and they make him a guard. I'm going to be serious. I didn't think that he was going to be able to come in and play guard. You know, you're talking about a guy that played left tackle. He started left tackle. They move him on the right side, put him at guard. He's 6'7", 366 pounds. And he's playing guard like he's, you know, he was drafted to play guard. That just goes to show how Stoutland University gets those guys going in the right direction. How everybody has confidence in his offensive line because he's coaching them to another level. He was playing at a really good level for this Eagles team. Now, I'm not going to say he was, all pro, but I will tell you this. There were times, he was just too big of a man to run around. And it's different. It's a different, being when you're in there playing a guard rather than tackle. Tackle, you set out. You got a little more time to be an athlete before you start the aggressive nature of hitting a guy and settling down and fighting him at the point of attack. At the guard position, you're fighting in a phone booth. You're right there.
You play both.
Yeah, I played both. I played center also, guard, center, and tackle. So you gotta tighten your mindset up that all right, you got to battle because that's the fastest way to the quarterback is the gap between you and the center. So for him to come in and play at the level he played in was amazing. Hey, how's everybody doing? Yeah, I'm back in the fold.
I be trying to tell people, listen, man, like I'm doing all right. It's terms of my connections, man.
Listen, it out. Yeah.
Listen, I treat people well, they treat me well, man. It's all about relationships in this thing, right? And
right.
You again, like I said, like your football mind is something I really value. And just hearing you break down, Mekhi Becton, how he was able to transform, how Stoutland was able to get the most out of him, right? How Stoutland was able to turn Cam Jurgens into a Pro Bowl center, right? What he was able to do with Mailata, turn him from a 7th round rugby player to a all-pro left tackle, Landon Dickerson, the highest paid guard in football. I mean, this Philadelphia Eagles team has always made it a mission to invest in the trenches, right? That's been who they've been. That's been who they've always been, right? That's been the mantra since Andy Reid was in the building. That was the code of conduct. We invest in the trenches. We build our team from the inside out, not the outside in, like the Cincinnati Bengals are trying to do right now. But when you think about what they normally do versus what they normally don't do, a la paying a running back the kind of money they paying Saquon right now, right?
Paying a linebacker.
Paying a linebacker in Zack Baun, right? When you think about who they've been versus who they've shown us to be today and so on and so forth, like how have you been adjusting your way of evaluating Howie Roseman, this team, how they build the roster, personnel decisions, how they allocate the money? How have you been trying to adjust your scope and how you look at this team?
Well, you have to change the level in which you're thinking. After you pay the quarterback, that's when everything changes for a team. You can no longer, go out there and deal with free agency like they did when they won their first Super Bowl back in 2017-18 season. You got to make sure that you go out and bring in you bring in free agents like they did in 2018. They brought in, 17. They brought in guys, Alshon Jeffries, Timmy Jernigan's, all these hired assassins, Long, Chris Long. They brought in both the running backs, what I'm saying? They just brought in a bunch of hired assassins and won a Super Bowl. He was a great talent evaluator and bringing in free agents. It's a totally different team from what they had in 17-18. Now they come in, and these are draft picks that are doing it for them. Even after they paid the quarterback, they still were able to go out and get enough on defense. And those defenders that they did get were, guys that are one-year deals. You're talking about a guy like Zack Baun. He paid on a prove-it deal, and he eventually got a reward for $51 million. Was it 4 years, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah. 54, 3 years.
Yep. He deserved that. He was, I thought he was defensive player of the year, but everybody thought different. They gave it to the corner from Denver.
Surtain, yeah.
And he balled too, but the level that you saw Zack Baun play at, man, that was amazing. And then when you tie in, you've already paid your quarterback, you can't allocate a lot of money. But if you look at it, they're heavy laden contracts on the offensive side of the ball. They're all heavily. The whole offensive line is being paid with the exception of center. The tight ends paid. Running back was paid, not paid as he is now, but paid also. Mm-hmm. And the quarterback's paid, and both receivers on long-term deals, and they're paid. So everybody on the offensive side of the ball, they spent the money. That's where they said, all right, we got to allocate money here. So they had to do it the hard way. They had to go out, draft well, and the guys they did pay were guys that had prove-it deals to get them where they are. So, that's just how he's showing the capabilities of being a guy that can be well versed at both ways of doing things, picking talent free agency, but at this point, really, really picking talent in the draft that can come in the world. Was he able to get those 2 cornerbacks in the first round? That was amazing.
That's unheard of.
Amazing.
Unheard of. You're right. And he's essentially saying we're spending all this money on offense because that's where the league is, and we're going to invest draft cap. We're going to just find money capital on offense. We're going to just invest draft capital on defense. And if you're elite on that defensive side of the ball, we will definitely pay you. But if we don't consider you elite or a game changer or a difference maker, we feel like we can replace you. That's why Josh Sweat's not here anymore. That's why Milton Williams is not here anymore. Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, right? A lot of guys that we felt like was already
CJ got traded.
CJ got traded, right? And we felt like he brought something unique to the table, but the Eagles looked at it from the perspective of, hey, we leveraged what we needed to get from you, right? You helped bring the Super Bowl here. We feel more comfortable moving on from you and investing the resources elsewhere. And then the reasons he left, we could debate that. Was it about money? Was it about cultural fit and just personalities being divisive? Whatever it may be, we won't know. But he's showing you exactly how he wants to build his defense. We're gonna bring in guys that are 25, 26 coming off of their rookie deals that have been forgotten about, that are trying to prove it. Guys that come from good programs, guys that are early draft picks, and we're going to have those guys compete with the guys we already drafted. Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, they're here to compete with Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith, right? Adoree Smith, the veteran, or Adoree Jackson, the veteran, he's going to compete with Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks for that starting spot. You know what I mean? And it goes on and on from there, right? The 2 tight ends. We don't know what Dallas Goedert's future is because the rumors is that they're trying to move him. But you bring those 2 tight ends in to compete with Grant Cockatera or E.J. Jenkins, whoever you got in the roster. So they're trying to instill competition on that defense side of the ball, keep guys honest, and trust that they have the coaching staff in the building. I mean, let's talk about that, right? The coaching staff that they've been able to build from the Sean Desai moment, the Matt Patricia moment, to the Vic Fangio crew. I mean, Fangio, Clint Hurt, Bobby King, Joe Casper, Christian Parker, Roy Anderson. It goes on and on. Jeremiah Washburn. They've made sure that if we're going to build this defense this way, we got to have the right people in place to not only coach but teach. Speak on how important that is to try to balance that between somebody who can call the plays but also can employ the right people to teach and develop these guys.
Well, you look good. A guy like Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio has always been a teacher, and that's why he left. He left Miami. Miami was an older team, and it felt as though they knew it all. You know what I'm saying? They didn't need his coaching style. They didn't need to be told what to do. He gets out of there. He comes up here. He gets a young defense. They went from being the oldest defense before he got there to having the youngest defense in a matter of one off season. That just goes to show how Howie just totally flipped the roster. Then you turn around, you get these guys in a locker room. You have to teach them your defense. They didn't know what they were doing. They had 2 defensive coordinators the year before. He teaches them his defense, spends the time, breaks it down, and what does it do? It puts people in a position where they can play faster, play more aggressive, and not worry about anything because they already know how to play the defense. He's taught them how to play. That coaching style that he used was very effective to get these guys to play at a fast level. Zack Baun comes in. He didn't know that defense. He coached them up, got them to where it was second nature to him. That way he was able to go out and make plays. There were times being zone, they'd be in zone. His zone would be in the flats. There's nobody out there in the flats. Why would he go out to the flats? Well, 2 years ago, that's what they would have done. I got to be in the flats. I'm going to go into the flats. And then they're running everything underneath. Instead, he doesn't see anybody in the flats that could be, a threat to him. He fades off, is able to pick a pass off because he didn't just do exactly what the defense told him to do. He left where he was supposed to be at because there was nobody there. Why cover nothing when he can help in the pass? Those are all things that come with learning and understanding how to play the defense. You look at everywhere that Coach Fangio's left. When he was with the 49ers, 2 of the best linebackers in the league, 2 of the best safeties in the league. Why? because Willis and Navarro Bowman, those guys made sure that they knew exactly what to do and how to do it. Dante Whitner, Whitner, he want to say he won't call him Hitler, but he said the best thing that he learned from Coach Fangio is just to listen, learn, and draw from the knowledge that he had. It made him a better player. He could play the game faster because he knew exactly what he was supposed to do. These are all things that, players think that they know too much. You never know too much. You've always got to be evolving. You always got to be learning. As soon as you think that you know everything, that's when you really understand you know nothing. So it was great for him to have that have that young team on the defensive side of the ball that he can nurture them and get them in and put them in great positions to be successful. Even when he was with the Saints, he was the linebacker coach. He had the best linebackers in the league. We're talking about, Swilling, all those guys, Mills. I mean, those are the best linebacking cores ever put together. As long as you're sitting back and learning his defense, learning what he's telling you, it makes you play faster because now you can read and react and do things at a high level because you know what's going on. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand what the defense is supposed to do. You understand what the backside is doing if you're a defensive lineman. The linebacker knows what the safeties are going to do because he has to call the plays and know what the front line is going to do. All of these things make you a great defense because as long as you know what to do, you can play faster.
And that's what stood out to me about this defense all throughout the year. Obviously, they took their lumps those first 4 weeks. They had the bye week in week 5. And then from week six and on, that defense just took off like gangbusters. And the thing is, we saw a sliver of how good that defense can be. I believe in the week 3 matchup against the Saints, we saw a microcosm of just how dominant, how shut down they could be. Then they had the setback against the Buccaneers, and then they doubled back week 6 and they just took off from there. I mean, everything you're saying, the communication, the trust, execution, chemistry, guys knowing where they're supposed to be more than anything else, guys knowing when to freelance, when not to freelance, being so confident in the scheme, being so confident with Vic Fangio's, being so confident when he's teaching that you're not out there thinking, you're just reading and reacting. I think going into that season last year, we all talked about, okay, we know the offense is going to be what it's going to be, right? You ask Saquon, they should be a top 5, top 10 offense easily, right? But the defense, because they were so bad in 2023, I think in 2024, a lot of us just said, hey, if you could just be average, then you got something going with this team. They were the number 1 defense in football. They went from being arguably one of the worst and one of the oldest to one of the best and one of the youngest, right? Walk me through at which point in the season where you said to yourself, oh no, this defense is for real.
It actually started out the first game. For them to go in the red zone and just give up 3 points when Jalen threw an interception, put him in harm's way, and for him to come out with just 3 points, that'd have been 7 the year before. Them gaining understanding on how to play his defense allowed them to start playing faster. And then when you take Avonte Maddox out of the slot corner position, you put in Cooper DeJean, bigger, stronger, and faster player, young player, but took the time to learn the defense the way he's supposed to, and the confidence that Vic Fangio showed in him and threw the catch a sink at him, and it didn't waver. He didn't waver at all. Once he stepped on the field at that slot corner position, that whole defense took off. They were able to run whatever they wanted to run because they had really good defenders out there. I mean, from day one, Quinyon Mitchell was the starter, and he played that way. I never seen a young kid come in and play as well as he did. And I played with Bobby Taylor.
The confidence was booming.
Oh man, it was crazy how good this kid was. And Bobby came in, when I came in, we were both, second round picks for the Eagles. I started and he started. And he didn't play. Man, they brought him in to stop Michael Irvin. Quinyon could stop anybody in the league. They stopped even throwing to his side. So for him to trust those young guys, put Cooper DeJean at the slot corner position, and let him grow, take his bumps and bruises, and just ball the way he did, it really had that defense the ability to take off now. Before that game, those first 4 games, teams were going out playing, pitch and catch, because they played so far off the ball. Well, then he had that confidence in him. They started coming up and playing tighter defense. When they played tighter defense, they were rerouting receivers. They were taking that first read away because they're so good and understood what to do, that it changed on how these teams were trying to, pick on that defense. And from that time forward, they just took the game over with. Those two young kids and a veteran and Slay just took it over. It was hard to really go out there and have a decent passing game, because now that gave the defensive line a chance to go make plays. That's exactly what it was. And once they stopped putting Huff on the field, I'm sorry, man, but and he's going to have to play this year, man. And I hope that he, takes his head out his ass and starts playing now. It's not like you stop learning how to be a pass rusher. I think he was so
he looked like he never
confused.
fit. To me, he looked like he never quite fit in with the team.
Right.
Now, granted, Fangio had him standing up a lot earlier in the season. Then he finally was able to put his hands in the dirt, and that's when you saw him starting to really get back on track. And then he got hurt. So I still think that he has something, but there's rumors circulating that he may be on the trade block if he's even tradable with that contract coming off that season. I don't know how.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So
didn't he playoffs? He might have got what? He might have got what? 20, 30 plays in the entire playoffs.
Yeah,
paid this kid $51 million, man.
Yeah, 34 guaranteed. Last year's contract and this year's contract. This year's it's guaranteed. So at this point, you're already paying him, man. You're already paying him. I just have a hard time believing he's as tradable as people think he is. So I'm foreseeing him being on this roster. But overall, you're right though. This defense, the confidence that Vic Fangio was showing in them, and the confidence they had in each other was just insane. They had a really good balance of veteran leadership and youth as well. And a lot of these young guys that came in kind of had like this veteran feel to them. Cooper and Quinyon had like this. They seemed like they've been there before. They felt seasoned, just their personalities, how laid back they were, the confidence in their ability. That really stood out to me about them. But that Super Bowl, man, I got to pick your brain about just how that game went defensively, especially because last time we spoke was the offseason last year, and a lot transpired leading up to that moment. A lot of people felt like the Eagles going into the season, right? This is the funny thing about people going into the season. You never heard super team. Some people had this team not even winning their division. Some people had them not making the playoffs. When they signed Saquon, they didn't put the same respect on it that they give it now. Obviously, Zack, Baun, and Mekhi Becton, they were shots in the dark, right? You can't really foresee that. But with this roster as it was currently built, nobody said super team, but they did what they did in the regular season. They did what they did in the playoffs. That defense was very dominant. I want to say in the playoffs, they forced 10 turnovers in the playoffs, 10, 11 turnovers. But even the 4 games prior to that, I think they forced like a grand total of like 12, 13 total. They were on a heater defensively going into that playoffs, and what they've shown throughout the playoff run, holding Green Bay to 10 points, holding the Rams to, I believe, 22 points. Well, 20 points offensively because they got 2 points off of safety, but holding their offense to 20 points, holding the Commanders to 23 points, right? Then you go to the Super Bowl and you hold Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid-led offense to 22 points.
No, there was 0 points going to the third quarter. In third quarter, it was 0 points.
Yes, there was a point in the game where it was 24-0?
Yep.
And then a point in the game where it was 34-6. The defense was locked down. Walk me through what you saw in that Super Bowl. What was your perspective? Did it go exactly how you thought it would go? Just give me all the emotions and the feelings and the perspective you had from that day, man.
Well, you know what? I can say this because I'm a man of my word, and all I kept saying throughout the season, let's start from day one.
Okay.
They played in Brazil on September 5th. That first Monday, the game on Thursday. That first Monday. Oh, they play on Friday, right? Was it Friday they played?
It was a Friday game, I believe.
Yeah, it was a Friday game. Yeah. That Monday, I have a show called Birds Huddle from 6 to 6:30, Monday through Friday. I'm on Birds Huddle, and I say, look, the first Monday, I know this is game week. I'm hype. I'm ready to rock and roll. But I'm telling y'all right now, if the Eagles Allow Saquon Barkley to do what he does. If he can win the rushing title, the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. I said, it's not get to the Super Bowl, he's going to win the Super Bowl. And I said that 17 games in a row, all the way through the season. Saquon wins the rushing title, they're winning the Super Bowl. I kept saying it. And you can go back through and watch the shows. I said it every single week. They got tired of me saying it. And everybody looked like I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I was a clown or something. And then everybody caught amnesia about me saying that. Even during the playoffs, I said, man, they are playing at such a dominant rate. I said, this Super Bowl is going to be, they're going to murder them in the Super Bowl. I said, this is not even going to be close. Once again, people looked at me like I was crazy. I said, yeah, they're going to beat them by double digits. They are a better team than this Kansas City Chiefs team. They're going to beat the hell out of them. And they kept telling me, oh, it's the coaching. It's the coaching. Man, it had nothing to do with the coaches. Andy Reid was not on that field. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Mahomes wish he'd have been out on that field. Maybe he could play tackle or guard or something. You know what I'm saying? Try to stop them boys up front. But they just knew that they were just going to totally dominate. When I talked to players throughout the week, you know, the Super Bowl, and they kept telling me, B, it's not going to be close. B, they're going to kill them. We are going to totally destroy this team. They should not be on the same field as I am. That's what the players are telling me. That's what they're saying to me. And then when I said, everybody looking like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know something. So then when they do it, now they're like, now everybody gets amnesia that I said that.
I'm with you.
Come on, man. I just tell the truth, what I say. Just like I would tell you guys now. Right now, it's March 21st. This is my brother's birthday, March 21st. This is what I'm seeing. I really think that Jalen Hurts is going to step his game up and be the quarterback of the future. He will win the MVP this year, and they will make it to the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to be as confident as I said they're going to win it, but they will be in the Super Bowl this year, and Jalen Hurts will be MVP this year. I just said it. March 21st. You heard it here first.
March 21st. Y'all heard it. We got an exclusive, y'all. March 21st.
My brother's birthday. Yep.
Exclusive. Jalen Hurts, B. Brooks locking it in. MVP. Super Bowl bound. I like it. I like it because, you know, Jalen Hurts is somebody that doesn't really get the respect he deserves and how he plays the position because he doesn't play the position like they want him to play the position. You know what I mean? They don't. Or he doesn't. And Devontae Smith recently, he was on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmelo Anthony. And they asked him about the whole top 4, top 5 quarterback thing. And, you know, he said, listen, I know Darius Slay. I know my man Big Play Slay was talking about top 4 with Mahomes and Burrow, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I get all that. But if you ask me, it's a top 5. Jalen Hurts is in that category. I mean, the way he's able to elevate his game, in those crucial moments, especially in the playoffs, that NFC Championship game and that Super Bowl. I mean, come on, those are all-time performances from an Eagles quarterback. I mean, those performances rival the Nick Foles performance in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, you got to get credit where credit is due. And I've always said this, right? And I want your thoughts on this. You know, Jalen Hurts may not be as talented, quote unquote, or traditionally as talented as those other guys that talk about. But for the sake of argument, I'll say this. I would much rather have a quarterback. I'd much rather have a B+ quarterback that can elevate his game to A+ in the big moments than an A+ quarterback that shrinks to B+ in the big moments. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to say this. Jalen Hurts, I'm going to tell everybody, he may not be an elite quarterback, but he is an elite winner. You can coin that phrase. He's not an elite quarterback. You may not think so, but he is an elite winner. By any means necessary, he gets it done. Out of everybody that's in his draft class, who's won a Super Bowl from his draft class? Jalen.
Who got the most career wins from his draft class? Jalen. most playoff wins? Jalen.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, at this point, you know what I'm saying? You can call me whatever you want to call me, just as long as you call me a winner.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Just as long as you call me winner. Man, so he's gonna be ready. He'll be ready.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And again, I'm grateful for the time you give me, man. I just got a couple more I gotta get out of you, man. Once again, shout out to you for just offering your time up. I know you're a busy
no
man.
question. You know I'm at work. I'm at NBC right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like I know NBC, man.
In a closet.
Grind.
I'm
grinding, man.
I'm literally in the closet.
Oh shit.
In NBC, yeah, I'm in the closet.
I'm in the storage. But man, like I love the work you do. I love your perspective of football, man. It's always a rational perspective, man. It's always reasonable, and I think that's what's missing a lot these days in sports talk. Is just the obvious, right? You know, they always talk about guys throwing off platform, and oh, he could throw the ball like this, he could throw a no look pass. Does the motherfucker win? Can he win? Can he win? Can you depend on him in big games? Is he accurate? You know what I mean? Yep. Can he move the chains? Like we get so wrapped up in all this sexy football talk like it's a beauty pageant. When the reality is the game is very simple. Convert third downs, put points on the board, win the football games. Last time I checked, my guy does that at an efficient rate.
Bro, at the end of the day, whenever they're in a sticky situation and the game's on the line, they can always rely on Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. The defense knows that Jalen Hurts going to go down and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And you got an offensive line like that who, when push comes to shove, they might have been bad all day. Once they turn around and he looks at them and say, hey, let's go, they go from getting their ass kicked to ass kicking. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a difference out there. Anytime you got a back like Saquon Barkley in the backfield, and then you got two Pro Bowl receivers on the outside, two, mind you. I mean, what can you do from an offensive standpoint that, you know what I'm saying, that you know, you can't not call anything. You can call anything you want to call with the offense that they have. Anything, you know what I'm saying? And Howie Roseman, I got to give him his flowers, man. I got to give him his roses. Mm-hmm. He's always great at getting guys under fair market value. Now, here they are. They had just signed, they signed AJ like a year earlier. Now it's time for the Slim Reaper, Smitty, to get paid. Mm-hmm. He gets paid. And not even a week later, they pay AJ again, understanding the dynamics of how it would have been if he didn't get paid also. But they weren't minding that because now they locked him in long term. Mm-hmm. And with the money these receivers are getting right now, did you see what they're getting right now? He set the market right there. Yeah. Now everybody else had to jump over. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So him and Smitty are happy right now. They're good. But they're not even close to being the highest paid guys anymore. At all. You know what I mean? So even the quarterback. Jalen is like ranked 10th as far as quarterbacks, as far as the amount of money he's getting paid.
Right. He was the highest paid guy for like 24 hours. And then after that, he's down to 10 or something like that. I mean, you got guys who haven't even gotten close to his resume.
And I love it too. I love it too. Because you got the Dallases of the world right now. Mm-hmm. Dallas, they don't know what they want to do. I mean, how have you not paid your best player on your football team? Michael Parsons should have been paid last year. And Howie would have paid him last year. Come hook or crook, he'd have paid him. You wouldn't have to worry about that. So since they didn't pay him, now he's going and they've already set the market. You know, Cleveland set the market. Mm-hmm. So you know he's gonna get like 155. You know what I'm saying? 160. Because he's about, you know,
it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be
crazy. Yeah. So you know, I mean, Michael Parsons, he ain't worried about that. He gonna get that money
from somebody, and that's why that's why I looked at people this offseason, because a lot of people are like, "How do you let Milton walk? How do you let Sweat walk?" I'm like, "Do you guys not understand what's on the horizon? You have Jalen Carter in the building. Jalen Carter is about to reset the market at D tackle.
Exactly. We're talking.
So why would I tie up money with Milton and Sweat when I know for a fact my transcendent player is in the building, still in the rookie deal. He's entering year 3. I want to pay him as soon as they will let me, because I'm not letting that contract sneak up on me. I'm sorry.
You got to be able to do it. Get them under fair market value. You got to get them under fair market value. He did it with all his offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. He set the market with his quarterback. He set the market with his tight end. He set the market with his receivers. I mean, that's how you do it. You pay guys early. Now they're gonna set the market with Blankenship. They gotta pay Blankenship. which is why they had to get rid of CJGJ.
That's interesting because I saw somebody on my show yesterday say, hey, Reed may get $12 million a year. And I'm like, really? I don't.
Yeah.
And then when I did the research after that, $12 million is not even in the top 10 of the contract at safety.
Right.
So I'm like, wait, $12 million. Again, this is after the, like, I'm doing the show and somebody said that. And I'm like, nah, Reed probably gonna get between maybe 7 and 9, something like that. And then I did more research and I'm like, he may get 11 or 12. He may, but yeah, Reed is a really good player, and you I think you're onto something as well with the CJGJ thing. Rumor was he wanted a little bit more money.
Yep.
And they were like, sorry, we're gonna move you before things get a little too crazy. But I think
that's
realistically,
exactly what they did. Yep.
You may see Reed maybe get between 8 and 11. Maybe 12, but. Yeah, I realized 12 million is not even in the top 10 at the safety position anymore. So I had to recalibrate my perspective on that overnight.
I'm still mad at my mom right now for having me way too early. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been a millionaire right now instead of a thousandaire. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, what is it? Mailata and Lane, they're not even in the top 5 at left tackle as far as average salary anymore because he paid them so early. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yep.
You're right. Howie always gets ahead of it. Before I let you go, I got one final question, big dog. You know, this Eagles organization, they've had legacy player after legacy player, and they've done right by those players, investing in them, making sure they take care of their bodies, making sure they put money in their pocket. Those guys are giving back by providing Pro Bowl, all pro level play, giving back to the community, being good teammates, good leaders, knowing how to let the young guys lead when it's their time to take over. And I want to get your perspective on Brandon Graham's retirement, because that brother dedicated 15 years to this Eagles organization. I mean, over 70 plus sacks, most games played, I believe, as an Eagle, most years tenured as an Eagle, 2-time Super Bowl champion, a second team All-Pro, a Pro Bowl. The dude has just been a consummate professional, a leader on and off the field, family man. Just give me your perspective on Brandon Graham's legacy in Philadelphia, the emotions you were feeling when he retired. Do you have any signature moments or signature conversations you had with BG?
I just recently, last week I recently was just giving an award for not really an award, but they just congratulated me for being at NBC Sports Philadelphia for the last 10 years. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
Seriously.
And the first guy that I interviewed who made an easy transition for me, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, was Brandon Graham. So I was able to chop it up with him my first interview, which showed me I can do this thing. And he made me comfortable. He actually started my TV presence career that day 10 years ago. So,
wow.
I mean, we're talking about a guy, man, he's just as good as a man off the field than on the field. I mean, there's nothing that he won't do for you. And he's the type of person that if you see him outside of, football, he's going to be just as good as dude as I am. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the nicest people in the world. He is genuine. He'd get his shirt off his back and not even know you. He's one of the most highly respected people in my life that I've ever known. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people, and he's definitely like number one as far as somebody that I would want my son to be like, somebody I want my daughter to marry. You know what I'm saying? He's that type of guy. He's an amazing man, and I'm trying to take away from the story of how he was able to become Brandon Graham, how he became BG. Because his first 3 years, man, it was hard on him, man. His first 3 years, he was riddled with injury. He sucked as a player. He wasn't good. He was going through some stuff, not being able to live up to what he thought he should be living up to, coming from the University of Michigan, being a first-round draft choice, getting hurt, changing positions. He did all that his first 3 years. But he made it a point that if he ever got a second chance, he would definitely take that second chance and run with it. And that's exactly what he did. He got a second chance and became all-world here in Philadelphia because he's just a good person. God rewards the people like him. You know what I'm saying? He is just such an awesome type of guy. So he was able to get things going and be the man that we see now, the BG we see now. And Washburn helped him do it the most, you know what I'm saying? Washburn, you know, showed him how to rush the passer and be a guy that's undersized and still be great at what he did. And he took it around with it, man. So not just on the field, like even on the field, he's always a guy that at the end of the game is going to come up with a huge play.
Yeah.
The week he got hurt, I think it was week 12 against the Rams.
Yep.
He stopped a jet sweep, one of the fastest players in the NFL, not just on the field at the time, in the NFL, and stopped it for a tackle for loss. And that's where he got hurt. The Super Bowl, to end the game, here is Tom Terrific going down the field. You know what I'm saying? He could have lost that game. They would have probably lost that game if he was able to you know, keep the ball and continue driving down the field. He was able to go down there, strip sack Brady, and, you know, eventually led to us winning the Super Bowl. He's always on time, man. And that's just the type of person he is, man. I mean, highly respected, man. And he's somebody I can call a friend, definitely.
Yeah.
Great guy.
You see the impact he has on the teammates. I mean, Nolan Smith can only say but good things about him. He always talked about how that's his vet and how BG's always, you know, making that time for him. You know, just seeing how Jalen Hurts and BG's relationship has evolved over the years. I mean, you know, Jalen Hurts is a very stoic dude, right? To see Jalen Hurts be able to show a little personality when BG getting retired, you know, they on the stage having fun with it. I mean, it just goes to show the kind of energy BG brings you and the kind of energy he's able to pull out of you as well. So yeah, job well done to him.
Great job, man. Great guy. Yeah.
He left no stone unturned. And like you, my friend, you've left no stone unturned in your career.
You my guy, man. Tone, you sent me the text. You shot me the text. Hey, man, I need you on the show, man. I said, all right, man. Give me a time of the day, and I'll see if you don't do it. And you said, all right, 12 o'clock. I said, I can't do it at 12 o'clock. I got to be on the show at 12 o'clock. Give me 2:30. He said, all right, 2:30. You have it.
Let's do it, man. And again, man, this is just how NBC Sports has been a home for you for 10 years. This is a home for you as well, my friend. So
appreciate it, man. Definitely
I appreciate you for always making yourself available to me. You know, we family outside of this, man. I know for a fact I can always call on you and tap in with you, man. I know when I wasn't going through some of my best times, me and you was able to have conversations, and you know, we talked to each other.
We had to whoop some ass, you know what I'm saying? We was gonna make it happen.
Exactly.
Gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I almost had to put my hands on some people, man. But we was
listen, man. Hey, listen, we ain't want that. But regardless, guy got a guy. He got his way of putting you exactly where you need to be, man. And I could tell you've been blessed beyond belief with your career. You know, your health, man. You look good. I'm just seeing your transformation, man. You look great. And it's just good to see you doing well, my man. So I appreciate you for taking that time out.
You too, man. Appreciate
for sure.
It.
So you take care. All right. And again, this is home for you. This is home, man. And again, thank you for making
Call me anytime,
here
bro.
at Chalk It Up Sports. All right. Shout out to my man B Brooks, man. That's fly. That's my guy, man. Thank y'all so much for being great hosts for my man B Brooks. He's just a phenomenal human being. B Brooks has always made himself available to me. So I can't take him for granted at all. B Brooks is like family, man. I know for a fact I could hit up B Brooks for anything, and he's gonna try to make sure I got it. So shout out to y'all, shout out to him, and I appreciate him, man. Great interview. Also, you guys, let me know what was your favorite part of the interview, right? What's your thoughts on the B Brooks conversation, right? Were you guys feeling what he was saying? Did you guys disagree on certain things? Let me know how y'all felt about that conversation, man. It was pretty cool to have B Brooks on the show again. I think this is his second time appearing on Chalk It Up Sports. So let me know what you guys think. All right. Make sure you guys also smash that like button. I really do appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. All right, let's keep this thing going, right? So we were talking about the Eagles' top 30 visits, right? And we mentioned, I want to say, two guys thus far. We mentioned two guys thus far, right? We talked about Jalen Travis, offensive lineman out of Iowa State, and we mentioned Marcus Mbao, offensive lineman out of Purdue. Let's try to reset, right? Let's do a quick reset, and let's tap in real quick. with these guys one more time. Once again, you guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys smash that like button, all right? So let's get back into the nitty-gritty of what we was talking about here as it pertains to these top 30 visits. Now, it's been reported that the Philadelphia Eagles intend on bringing in 4 offensive linemen thus far. We haven't heard the latest and greatest on who they're going to bring in next, but as it stands right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to bring in 4 offensive linemen so far. Okay? First guy we talked about was Jalen Travis, offensive lineman out of Iowa State. Says here, Jalen Travis, former Iowa State offensive lineman, started 11 games at left tackle for the Cyclones in 2024. According to Pro Football Focus, Jalen Travis allowed just 1 sack and 11 total pressures and 475 pass protection snaps at Iowa State. Prior to joining the Iowa State Cyclones, Travis played at Princeton while splitting time at both left tackle and right tackle. Travis has the ideal size to play offensive tackle in the NFL at 6'8", 339 pounds with 34 and 7/8 of an inch arms. While Travis is far from a finished product, he would benefit by learning inside Philadelphia's prestigious offensive line room. Travis is projected to be selected on day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft. This guy is screaming. This guy is screaming Jeff Stoutland project, right? Jeff Stoutland is very known for getting the most out of these guys. Again, the measurable 6'8", 339 pounds, 35-inch arms, and the fact that he's played left tackle, he's played right tackle. He's a smart guy, went to Princeton, has the ability to be cross-trained, right? And was good enough to transfer to a Power 5 school in Iowa State. So Jalen Travis sounds like somebody who has the tools you want, but now you just got to refine it. You got to chisel it, right? Again, you can't make up that 6'8", 339 frame. You can't make that up. You can't make that up at all. So that was reported via Zach Berman from PHLY. Zach Berman reported that Jalen Travis is supposedly going to be a part of the top 30 visits for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So let's move on. Marcus Mbao, offensive lineman out of Purdue. It says here, former Purdue offensive lineman Marcus Mbao played multiple positions in college. Mbao started 18 games at right tackle and 14 games at right guard. So he plays on the right side. He plays on the right side here. He's cross-trainable to play right tackle and right guard. Has a lot of experience playing both positions. Again, another guy that's been cross-trained, another guy that appears to be versatile. This is what the Philadelphia Eagles look for. Guys that are versatile, guys that are violent. It says here, many expect Mbao to find a home at guard in the NFL, as he has drawn comparisons to former Tampa Bay Buccaneers guard Ali Marpet. It says Mbao's athleticism and feisty temperament would mesh very well with Philadelphia's offensive line. He is able to move to the second level with ease, making him an ideal fit as the next student to enroll at Stoutland University. Mbao is projected to be selected on day 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft, and this was reported via Marcus Mbao's Instagram. Marcus Mbao mentioned how he's going on a top 30 visit. He's actually, matter of fact, he took a picture on his Instagram. He was at the Eagles facility, took a picture of the Super Bowl 52 logo. So he's in the building, or was in the building, on March 19th. But what stands out to me about this is obviously the guy is cross-trainable and the athleticism at the position. Now, you know, in Philadelphia, in order to play the interior here, in order to play in this offensive line, you got to be able to pull. You got to be able to get to that second level. That's a guarantee. If you're not willing to play multiple positions, if you're not willing to be cross-trained, if you're heavy-footed, if you're slow on the feet, you can't play in Philadelphia. But here's the thing. Jeff Stoutland is always going to find the way to get the most out of you, whether you like it or not. He's gonna expose you for the better or for the worse. That's the beautiful thing about Stoutland University, right? No handouts. He may like you, but that don't mean he can put you on the field. And he's going to pull the best out of you. He's going to expose you for better or for worse. We're going to know if you can't make it in Stoutland U, you can't make it anywhere in this league. Now, granted, some offensive line rooms, their standards may not be as high. So maybe there will be a team that'll let you slide. Maybe there will be a team that'll settle for you. But Jeff Stoutland is one of the only, he has one of the very rare, one of the only offensive line rooms, arguably the most prestigious offensive line room over the past 25 years in football. He's going to pull the best out of you, and he's going to expose you for better or for worse. Fred Johnson talked about it, how, he came in initially, he was hard-headed, and Jeff Stoutland didn't give up on him. And regardless of how it went down, Fred Johnson still had to show up. He had to trust what Jeff Stoutland was teaching him. Mekhi Becton, a guy who was doubted, a guy who was forgotten about. He had to trust Jeff Stoutland. And regardless, he going to try to find you a place. He's going to expose you for better or for worse. Take your pick. Take your pick. And so far, Jalen Travis and Marcus Baun, what screams to me about these guys? Versatility and experience. Versatility and experience. All right, let's move on to the next guy they're bringing in. Josh Conerly. Josh Conerly, offensive lineman out of Oregon. Says here, former Oregon offensive lineman Josh Conerly Jr. started 28 games at left tackle for the Ducks. That's a lot of starts. Started 28 games at left tackle for the Oregon Ducks. While he went viral for being bulldozed by Marshall edge rusher Mike Green in one-on-one drills at the Senior Bowl, Conerly's tape at Oregon was still very impressive. And we know Mike Green is a beast. Mike Green is a beast, but Josh Conerly Jr., he got put on his ass. You know what I mean? Ain't no shame in that. It happens. Everybody get got. It's how you respond at the end of the day. So, despite being bulldozed by Marshall edge rusher Mike Green in one-on-one drills at the Senior Bowl, Josh Conerly's tape at Oregon is still very impressive. It says here, according to Pro Football Focus, Conerly Jr. allowed just 2 sacks in his 28 starts at Oregon. Conerly's most impressive performance came against Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter, who didn't record a single pressure against the Ducks. Conerly is projected to be selected late in the first round or early on day 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft. So, Josh Conerly so far is the, the most he's the shiniest prospect so far. We're going to continue reading on with the other guys, but so far, Josh Conerly Jr. is the shiniest prospect, allowing only 2 sacks and 28 starts at Oregon, despite getting beaten one-on-one drills by Marshall's Mike Green. He showed up he showed up on film, and he was able to shut down the number 1 edge rusher in the draft in Abdul Carter, Penn State's Abdul Carter. Didn't record a single pressure. Not a single pressure. And this guy's projected to go late first, maybe early second round. Let me read some of your comments here. Alex says, I don't know if he'll be there at 64, but I don't know about taking him at 32. Well, I mean, to your point, Alex, they're projecting Josh Conerly to be a late first, early second round. That's what the projections is. So he may not be there at 64. But maybe the Eagles trade back, get additional picks, and they get him early second round. That could be the move, right? Trade back, get some more picks out of it, get him early second round, if that's the player you want. S. Blunt, he says Conerly He says, Conley is the guy I like in round 2. He would be an upgrade from Fred Johnson while still having an upside if someone gets injured during the season. I see what you're saying. I mean, to be able to handle a guy like Abdul Carter, that says something. Matter of fact, let me look up his measurables. Let's see here. All right. Offensive line. Try to find out where we are here. Okay. Josh Connolly Jr., here it is. Okay. 6'4", 315 pounds. A little small, man, for me, man. I kind of 6'4", 315. I don't know if I like him at tackle. I don't know if I like him at tackle. But Jalen Travis, 6'8", 320. Big dude. Big dude, man. Josh Connolly, 6'5", 311. I don't know. Now, granted, Lane is 6'6". Josh Connolly Jr. is 21. Very young player. And he won't be 22 until November. So this guy has a lot of upside. Don't get me wrong here. Has a lot of upside here. Josh Connolly. 21 years old, won't be 22 until November. Did a really good job against Abdul Carter. But again, 6'5", 311. You know the Eagles, they tackles 6'6" and up, 320 plus pounds. Jordan Mailata, what, like 6'8", 366. Mailata is 6'8", 366. Lane Johnson, 6'8", like 340. 6'6", 340. Lane Johnson. $325, excuse me. Lane Johnson, 6'6", 325. Connerly, 6'5", 311. Mailata, 6'8", 366. You know what I'm saying? You know? And obviously, Mailata put on weight. He did put on weight. And Connerly is, again, only 21 years old. So he's going to continue to put on size. He's going to get stronger. Let's not get it twisted here. He's not a finished product here. He's not. So Carrot Green, you're right. To be fair, you're right. Mailata was not 366 pounds when he got here. He wasn't. He had to put on a lot of weight. Matter of fact, let me look it up real quick. See if I can find out here. Jordan Mailata, combine stats. Let me see here. It says here, okay, Carrot Green, to your point, right? To your point. Jordan Mailata was 6'8", 346 at the combine. 346. That's still pretty. That's a big motherfucker. And Jalen Travis, 6'8", 339. I like my tackles like 6'6" and up. I like my tackles 6'6", 6'7". You know, and also we got to remind ourselves, Mailata is a unicorn. A 6'8" is different. But I like my tackles 6'6" and higher. When Mailata was drafted, he was 6'8", 346. Josh Connolly right now, 6'5", 311. He can still get stronger, but realistically, Connolly, let's just say realistically, Connolly grows an inch. Maybe he's 6'6" in cleats. He puts on 20 pounds in muscle. That'll push him to 331 at 6'6". So to your point, right? Connolly continues to put on his NFL body. Let's say he's 6'6", 6'7" in cleats. And he puts on 20 pounds of muscle. Okay, we may be on to something. We may be on to something, right? But Jalen Travis, he's projected to go day 3. Marcus Baun, he's projected to go day 2. Josh Connolly. And let me look something up real quick. Because Marcus Baun, 6'4", 303. I think Marcus Baun is going to be an interior lineman in the league. He's going to be an interior lineman in the NFL. 6'4", 303. Another guy. Let me double check this, right? Let me make sure I got something right. Marcus Baun, age. Marcus Baun, 21 years old. He'll be 22 in April. So Josh Connolly, 21. Marcus Baun, 21. Jalen Travis. Senior. So he's probably 22, 23, something like that. They never show these guys' ages. It's irritating. Okay, Jalen Travis. Look, man, these are some pretty. Well, here's the thing, right? They still have time, as Blunt, to your point. As Blunt says, I don't know if these guys, or I don't know if these draft picks are considered heir apparent or bench depth. I think that matters. Well, to your point, right? You don't know. We don't know, right? We ultimately don't know. And they have time to figure that out with Lane's extension. He added another year onto the deal. So we're going to have Lane for this season. Going to have Lane for the 2026 season and the 2027 season, hopefully. So you still have some time to figure that out. But as you can see, the Philadelphia Eagles are already thinking about figuring out what that's going to be. And that's not going to be an easy position to fill. It's going to have to be somebody Jalen Hurts trusts that can do the job. Somebody Jeff Stoutland trusts that can do the job. Right? And we're going to get to the fourth guy that they're bringing in. I didn't forget. All right? I didn't forget KGK. I didn't forget. So, yeah, man, I think overall, though, they're already thinking about who that's going to be. They're trying to figure out who that's going to be. But I also think it's going to be somebody that they feel like is unique at the position as far as size. Like they're not gonna take their chances on some 6'5" guy. They're not 6'4", 6'5" guy at the position. I think they want a guy that got 6'6" and up, 6'7" and up, 340, 350 pounds. You know, they want some real size at that position. And when you got a guy like Lane Johnson who's done what he's done, you know, I'm sure Lane Johnson is going to be hands-on in who his replacement is. I'm sure Lane Johnson is going to talk to the Eagles about who his replacement is. The same way Jason Kelce was hands-on with Howie Roseman, helping him handpick the next guy. I'm sure Lane Johnson is going to give his thoughts like, hey, this kid can do it. Or I'm sure Howie Roseman and Jeff Stoutland are going to tap the shoulder of Lane Johnson and say, all right, these are the guys we're looking at. What do you think? All right, let's get to our last guy here before we end the show. Also, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Once again, if you guys are just joining the live stream earlier in the show, we had our guy B. Brooks in the building. Barrett Brooks was in the building, locked in with your boy. If you guys missed that, don't worry. We're going to repost that interview to make sure you guys check that out. But, man, shout out to my man Barrett Brooks for taking the time out, man. That was a really great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right. Next up, Anthony Belton, offensive lineman out of North Carolina State. NC State, Anthony Belton, offensive lineman. He was invited to the combine here. Now, let's make sure we got our ducks in a row when it comes to Anthony Belton, okay? Anthony Belton, 6'6", 336 pounds. It says here, former North Carolina State offensive lineman Anthony Belton played over 2,200 snaps at left tackle for the Wolfpack. Belton has the ideal size to play offensive tackle at the next level. At 6'6", 336 pounds with nearly 34-inch arms. It's easy to see why the Eagles are intrigued by Belton's size profile and skill set. Anthony Belton is certainly far from a finished product, yet he would definitely benefit greatly from learning from Jeff Stoutland and working behind both Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. Belton is projected to be selected late on day 2 or early on day 3 of the NFL draft. This source comes by way of Devin Jackson of the Philadelphia Inquirer. So, Anthony Belton, 6'6", 336. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Because once he gets into that NFL program, that 336 may turn into 350. 6'6", 350. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he grows a little bit. That 6'6", 336 can easily turn into 6'7", 350. I like this brother's profile. I really do. Over 2,200 snaps at left tackle. Over 2,200 snaps. That's a lot of experience. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, you're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, who's my long-term answer at right guard? Who's going to be my long-term answer at right tackle once Lane Johnson decides to hang it up? Because although Lane is under contract, let me make sure I got this right here. Although Lane is under contract for the next 3 seasons, we don't know how that last season is going to go. We don't know how that last season is going to go. He's on contract for 2025, 2026, and I believe 2027. No, actually, I take that back. It says in 2027 he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So we got Lane Johnson on the hook for 2025 and 2026. Excuse me. He'll be a free agent in 2027. I think I got that right here. I think I got that right. Oh, so yeah, they got to update this shit. So anyway, they did tack on one more year, right? All right, they tacked on one more year. So I know I wasn't tripping when I said it earlier in the show. Nonetheless, thank you, S. Blunt. I appreciate it. I was right earlier. 2027. So they got him for 3 seasons. They got him for 3 seasons. But hypothetically speaking, let's just say we got him for the next 2, right? A lot can happen. So far, health has been on Lane Johnson's side. He didn't deal with any ankle injuries this year. Thank God. But so far, injuries, health has been on Lane Johnson's side. He's locked up for the next 3 years, 2025, 2026, 2027. But I think it's reasonable to be like, hey, let's just focus on 2025 and 2026. 2027 is going to be interesting. This isn't about talent. This isn't about his ability to do the job. Lane Johnson is always going to be a top 5 tackle in this game, no matter what age he is. But I just want to be realistic in terms of if he makes it to that final year. Anything can happen. I think it's important that the Philadelphia Eagles start to prepare for that now. You start preparing for that now. And honestly, I don't care which round the future comes from. I don't care which round he comes from. Because the Eagles have shown that it don't matter which round you come from, they're going to make sure they get the most out of it. And it's straight like that. Let me get to these super chats, man. Thank you guys so much for donating to the channel, man. Michael Felder with the double up with the 2 super chats. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. He said, Barrett, Brooks. Yeah, man. Shout out to Barrett Brooks, man. Barrett did an amazing job today. I'm really grateful for him. Shout out to my man, Michael Felder with the super chats. Tay McClendon with the $10 super chat. Thank you, my man. He says, I was watching the facility this morning. One thing became very clear. These dudes like Chase Daniels and James Jones will never give Jalen his just due because they believe that they are better than him. Well, James Jones is a wide receiver, so, take his opinion for what it's worth. But Chase Daniels, his opinion doesn't really mean much to me, honestly. Neither of their opinions mean much to me. I don't really watch that show anymore. We got to a point where I felt like I was hate watching it after a while. You know what I mean? I don't really watch it like that. I used to watch it throughout the season. I will admit that. I used to watch it, and I actually gave that show its flowers. Full transparency. I'm on record. I think you can search my Twitter. And I've given that show their flowers. Whenever I felt like giving it to them. But I'm at a point now where I can't really get into these shows like that, man. I can't. Especially when I know they're not going to give certain players a fair shake. They're not. So, especially a guy like Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel is never going to give Jalen Hurts a fair shake. I mean, this dude literally said he'll build his team around Justin Herbert before he builds it around Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert has no record of winning. Like, he can't even win a playoff game. But you'll take Justin Herbert's talent over Jalen Hurts. Listen, man, I want the guy who I can trust. I want the guy that I can trust his mentals. I can trust him mentally. He's not going to crack. You see, they always talk about talent, right? They love talking about the talent. But they always bite their tongue when it comes to the intangibles, when it comes to the things that's difficult to measure. I'm sorry. Justin Herbert is a head case. He cracks under pressure. I'm sorry. He cracks under pressure. I don't want a guy like that. I don't want a guy like that who can't handle the smoke, who can't handle pressure, who can't come up big for his team. I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, Tay. I really do appreciate it. Sweet Chin Music, my guy, he says, at this point of his career, Lane Johnson is on retirement watch, and we don't know when that will happen. So they should be looking to draft his successor, in my opinion. I agree 100%. They should give themselves enough bullets in the gun to make sure the right guys in the building. I feel you on that because he has to be on retirement watch. Yeah, he has 3 years left on the deal, 2025, 2026, 2027. But I'm on a year-to-year. It's a year-to-year proposition with him. And it's not because of talent. It's just because, guys got to be willing to go through the grind of the offseason, especially barring any injuries, man. Barring any injuries, we got to see how things go with Lane. We got to see how things go with Lane. We really got to see how things go. So you're right, Switch in the Music. You got to start thinking about the heir apparent. You got to start thinking about it. My man, Goedert Green. He says, crazy to think we've come a long way since that Danny Watkins draft. We've been so good at drafting O-line especially. Man, we've come a long way from a lot of draft classes. To your point, Danny Watkins, Jalen Reagor, the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside draft, the Marcus, what was his name? Marcus Smith? That draft? Come on, man, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Don't get me started, man. Sweet Chin Music says, best thing Chip Kelly did for us was hiring Stoutland. Absolutely. That's the one thing I will give Chip Kelly more than anything else. He hired Stoutland. He hired Stoutland. Callie Green says, do you think we'll draft a running back? Interesting. That's interesting. I don't think they have to reach for one. I don't think they have to reach for one at all. Maybe not. If they do, it's probably gonna be late in the rounds, but I don't think they have to reach for one at all. Bandman 100 says Herbert has amazing arm talent, and so far nothing else. It's not like he's Stafford with a career postseason rating of 102. Exactly, right? It's not like Herbert. Herbert cracks under pressure, not just in the playoffs, but regular season. We've seen him blow leads in the regular season. We've seen him not being able to get first downs at times. We've seen him throw crucial intercepts. Like, he's went through 3 different offensive coordinators. They keep trying to blame everybody but him. Shane Steichen, Lombardi, Kellen Moore. Now he has Greg Roman paired up with Jim Harbaugh. Like, at some point we gotta start looking at this guy like, man, he's talented, but can you trust him? He's talented, but you can't trust him to keep his shit when things get hot. He panics under pressure. You saw it in that playoff game against Houston. You saw it. He panicked under pressure. Delco Green says, Tone, please watch the Marcus and Baun clips. I think you'll be sold. Bet. I heard he's violent, man. I heard that man is violent. Anyway, you guys, we're about to close the show out. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being great guests on the platform. Thank you guys for being tremendous members. Thank you guys so much for being tremendous to my guest, Barrett Brooks. Phenomenal human being, phenomenal man. Really, really grateful for him. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And if you guys missed the Barrett Brooks interview, don't worry. We are going to upload that later on today, so you guys can double back and watch that interview. So Thank you guys so much for being supportive. Thank you guys for smashing that like button. And if you haven't already, please make sure you guys smash that like button and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And by the way, I got some more content coming for you guys later on, by the way. Got some more content coming later on. Yeah. It's a jam-packed day. Jam-packed day. So I can't wait for you guys to see what we're doing later on. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys are tuned in and have been tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.